88.7, The Voice, and the latest hit by Tangent Sunset. That's Alex Cosper's band. The song is called Way Down. And Alex, how you doing today?
Well, great, Mike. I'm glad you played my hit. Thanks. I don't often get to hear my own hit on the radio.
Well, we decided we're going to go big on today's show, right? You got to go big if you're going to go at all.
That's right. So Tangent Sunset is the name of the group.
And where does that name come from? It's a very cool name.
Thank you. I think I got it from just merging two words together, just two cool words. And I think it also means something. On one hand, it means the end of one world, and on the other, the beginning of a new world.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like that a lot. And then, of course, we can go off on a tangent if we need to in this discussion.
Exactly.
So, it's been about a year, I'd say a year and 1 week since we last met.
That's right. I think it was January 14th when we got together last year.
It was so funny because we didn't realize it, but the show was right during the San Francisco 49ers playoff game, so we were on this computer over here trying to catch the latest play-by-play while we were chatting on the air, and so you just said, fine, I'll just wait till they were playing on a Sunday. So they've had the good fortune to be in the playoffs again, and they're playing tomorrow, so here we are on Saturday. Yeah, yes.
We try to compete with the 49ers when we get together.
It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. So you're from here in Sacramento. How long have you been playing music?
Seems like all my life, but in reality, probably since I was 12 when I started playing guitar. And before that, I imagined I was a songwriter.
So pretty much that's all your life. Self-taught on the guitar?
Kind of. I did learn from some classes in junior high school. A teacher taught us the basic chords. And one of the things I learned was that I learned wrong. Okay, and they don't tell you this till 25 years later. So I'm actually left-handed.
Oh, okay.
And you know, some of the greatest guitarists are left-handed, like Jimi Hendrix, Paul McCartney.
Yep.
And instead of someone taking that perspective and saying, Alex, you could be great as a left-handed guitarist, I was told, Alex, you need to learn to play right-handed because the chord charts are only written for right-handed guitarists, and it's just the right thing to do.
So did you ever learn to play right, or are you still playing wrong?
I play wrong. I learned to play right-handed, but it was a struggle, and it took probably 2 extra decades, whereas if I had learned left-handed, in fact, I learned left-handed in the beginning, and I felt I was doing fine.
Yeah.
And then they told me, no, that's just not right. So I flipped to right-handed, and then it was I kind of lost my sense of rhythm for a long time because of that. Because all my rhythm was in my left hand.
Interesting.
And eventually I learned to play, I think, pretty professionally right-handed. Like in the past 10 years, I've learned to really develop my guitar playing and singing as well.
Very good. And you know, I know there's some left-handed guitarists, like Jimi Hendrix was playing wrong by being left-handed, and he was so wrong that he got frustrated and he would end up smashing his guitar or making feedback noises or burning the guitar on stage because he was so frustrated. Oh, wait a minute, that was the accident. But so much great left-handed creativity comes out there. I'm left-handed, still haven't learned how to play the guitar right or wrong, but there are left-handed people who are very, very creative out there.
I consider myself creative in the sense that what I create doesn't sound like anybody else.
Good, good. I appreciate that. And have you played gigs live?
I did in the 90s. I did quite a few with a band called the Beat Villains.
Oh, nice name.
Thank you. And we, you know, I was working on Quad at the time, so I kind of helped promote myself.
Oh, that works pretty well for me.
So we did some recordings back then, and I thought they turned out okay. But I was still kind of novice at it. I was more into radio and doing things on the radio and, you know, promoting other bands. So eventually, after I left radio, which was pretty much the past decade, I spent more time with my own music, wrote a lot more songs, and like the song you just played called Way Down, that I feel good about. I feel good about the music where I'm in complete control of it, whereas when I've had to compromise with other people, it didn't always come out the way I wanted, although there were some decent recordings out of that.
Yeah, and that's another thing that you're really a big proponent of is the new world, the new technology, the ability to do things yourself and therefore get the result that you want. Right or wrong, I mean, people have this power nowadays to create, and I just think that's amazing. And for instance, you've created a channel called sactv.com, and right now you're videotaping this interview with this amazing little pocket-sized camera, which is every bit as the good ones. So speak to me a little bit about the new world of creativity.
Well, thanks for bringing up sactv.com. SacTV is my latest web creation, and it's basically a video library of Sacramento. And I like to think of it as a virtual tour of Sacramento. And so anything you could think of that has to do with Sacramento, perhaps I've made a video of it already.
Nice, nice.
I did my thing at the Capitol recently. I've interviewed lots of people here in town, movie producers, musicians, local business leaders. And so it's a really fun way to get the word out about local businesses and to just help the community. I've always been community minded.
Yeah, big time, I would say so. And you know, one fun thing that I really liked back in the fall on SacTV is you did drives around really scenic parts of Sacramento and put them to local music, so people got a real flair for Sacramento. If you couldn't be here, then you could at least see it through your eyes, driving around, see some fall colors, some nice neighborhoods, and hear a local band. So I thought that was a really innovative use of the technology. I had not seen that anywhere before.
Well, thank you. That's definitely an original idea, at least for Sacramento. And what I did is, I set local scenery to local music. And I figured, okay, this is an interesting idea because a lot of people have a dream, like musicians, of being on the radio someday. You know, they want to hear their hit on the radio.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of what's missing a little bit from Sacramento is driving around in your car listening to local music.
Yeah.
And so I just had that idea. Wouldn't this make local music seem even more cool if it looks like you're driving around listening to local music on the radio?
Absolutely. I like that a lot. And that makes you a champion of Sacramento on many different levels. Just quick disclaimer here. You mentioned Quad. I just want to let the audience know, if you're not from Sacramento, Quad, KWOD, 106.5, late great radio station. That was the big alternative powerhouse station here in Sacramento back in the 90s when it really meant something to be part of the alternative music scene. And Alex here was the program director and put a lot of that great music on the station. And I would say you championed some really well-known bands before they became famous. And I know we're going to talk about that in the second hour because we're going to let you have your hand at programming the show later on.
Oh, goody.
I apparently don't pay as well as Quad, but I'm pretty close to what they paid.
Well, you know, they didn't pay that much.
Yeah,
I didn't do it for the money back then.
No, and see, that to me is what a good radio programmer or a good musician, does it for the love of it, and then, sometimes the money will follow. So we'll talk about that more, but I just want the audience to know that you certainly know your stuff, and you know your way around music, and you know your way around a radio studio. I mean, you came in here, you weren't even scared. You saw all this equipment, and it looked pretty natural to you.
Well, thank you. I mean, this is kind of like kind of the equipment I had in my bedroom at one time.
Yeah.
The turntable you have, that's exactly what I used to use for my mix shows, my own private little mix shows. The Technics 1200 turntable.
Yeah, awesome. This is the same equipment we had 15 years ago when I was trained to do a show here, and my training here was kind of an emergency training. I took the training, and then the test here was what happens, cue up a record, play it, the power's going to go out on you. What do you do next? So then I quickly switched to the next one and got that one going. So it was, I think our program director just tested us to see how we operated under fire. So yeah, same exact turntables as 15 years ago. And these are probably 25-year-old machines. I
had these kind of turntables in the 80s, and to be honest, they were the best turntables ever made that I knew about. For DJ work, at least. And they still work well. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your music again. You brought me a CD full of Tangent Sunset songs. Should we play another one? Sure, I'd love you to. Okay. What's a good one? Whatever track 2 is, just go ahead and play it, and we'll discuss it.
Okay, sounds good. I'm here with Alex Cosper, Tangent Sunset. Here's track number 2 on the Tangent Sunset CD here on Twirl.